Okay,
Good, thanks.
we'll call the meeting to order. And Alvin, if you just want to call the roll, since we're on Zoom,
Yes, Commissioner Collins,
here.
Commissioner Martinez.
Juanita. I mean, yes. I haven't even been drinking.
Commissioner Alminas.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Miller.
Yes, here.
Yeah. Commissioner Jones.
Yes,
Commissioner Ryan. Absent.
No, Ryan's there. He just is not, he's on mute.
That's another Ryan.
That's a different
Oh.
line, I think. That's a, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I better keep my mouth shut the rest of this meeting.
Have a MRI with contract scheduled for tonight at 9:15.
Was that somebody on there?
Not sure. Someone had their mic on.
Okay. All right, so item 1 is still continued, Elaine Street, right?
They sent an email a couple hours ago stating that they would want to actually be a part of the meeting today. And they did send some new information. I'm not sure if you guys were able to review or not. I did forward it to you guys, but probably came in maybe, again, just maybe a couple hours ago.
So is the representative here?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Ryan Nelson from R. Levesque Associates. How is everyone tonight?
Good, good. How are you, Ryan?
Pretty good. I know this has been a while for this project. This is just to bring you back up to speed, this is a local NOI filing. Since we're dealing with just the filling of an isolated wetland, there's no bordering vegetated wetlands on site that would have this project be within the jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act. So concurrently with this NOI, we had submitted a 401 water quality certificate application to Mass DEP. That's currently under review. I've been back and forth with Tom Greskos at Mass DEP with some revisions. There were some minor plan revisions related to notes for the replication area and the elevation of the wetland replication area. So that's the revised plan that I had sent over. We had done some previous projects in the past where the commission has conditioned a 401 water quality approval as a pre-construction item. If the commission feels comfortable, that could be an option. However, we have not received that approval yet from Mass DEP. So in terms of the actual project, I can share my screen. The actual layout of the subdivision hasn't changed. What we originally submitted to Springfield Concom has remain unchanged. So this would be a proposed roadway coming off of Elaine Circle. This would be an extension. We'd be going through an isolated wetland here that was created recently from an abandoned construction yard. Really doesn't serve any ecological value, but it does have hydrology and wetland plants. And this would be about 21 lots. We feel this configuration allows for better configured lots, gives us more room for our stormwater basin and the replication area as compared to a reduced or an alternative layout where that isolated wetland is not disturbed. And that was part of the analysis we had to do with Mass DEP on different alternatives that would result in lesser impacts. However, it would shift everything to the south, closer to these isolated wetlands that have more of a habitat and ecological value. So we feel that keeping the roadway up here, going through this man-made isolated wetland would be a better alternative than shifting the development south towards these more real wetlands.
And the replication area?
Yes. So we're disturbing 10,207 square feet of that man-made isolated wetland. And the replication area is located here. It will be 10,430 square feet. Be located adjacent to an existing depression in the very southwest corner of the property And if you look on the second sheet of the plan set, did test pits in this location to determine groundwater. And you can see on this cross-section profile, this dashed line is the existing grade and the existing wetlands located here. So to be excavating into the hillside, keeping that same 206 elevation as the existing wetland. This would be the end of the replication area and then be sloping back up to existing grade.
And the square footage was slightly larger, is that?
Yes, slightly larger. It was, let me see here, about 200 square feet larger.
Okay. Okay, I mean, I understand shifting it south would certainly have caused more. It's the lots that the isolated land abut, how you were proposing to make sure that the owners of those lots realize that there's a protected area and a buffer zone on there.
Right, so the applicant, Alston Graham of Graham Construction, will be doing the individual build out of each of these lots in addition to the roadway. So he's aware that the lots that are within the buffer zone will need additional local NOI filings depending on the location of the house, and we'd be working with him on that.
Okay, so he is going to do those filings as an individual basis. Okay, so we
Correct.
can deal with monumentation and things like that at that point.
Yes, yep. And on this plan, we're showing a limit of work just outside the 50. So there'd be no work occurring within the 50-foot buffer zone.
Okay. We can deal with those lots, and then in the future, it looks like one of them is pretty small area left to build.
Is that lot 18? Lot 18 looks really small. Is that the one you're talking about, Chris?
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be other than the 50-foot buffer zone, there's not a lot left there.
Yeah, obviously we looked into this. There's enough to put a house, but obviously, you know, the house size will be dictated by each of these lots. So the building setback is this dash line shown here. So this would pretty much be the envelope for that lot. And if you look at 13, here's your building setback,
Mm.
then you have your 50-foot buffer. So it's kind of traced within this area.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
make sure that the contractor knows that we have had some problems with people buying those lots and then encroaching into area.
Right.
So we'll be looking at some permanent monumentation going through those kind of places.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, all right.
And just, can we just go back to the slide with the slope where you're going to be replicating?
Mhm.
How steep is that slope? And there was the side, yeah, that's
Let me go back to the first sheet.
because it really looks very steep and we've been having some erosion problems in other places and
Yep. Give me 1 second and I can give you a measurement on that.
the slope is already there, right? Or are you creating it? I was confused.
My screen isn't working here. This would be a constructed slope. So this
Okay.
would be from the edge of the replication area, sloping back up to existing grade.
Mm,
Yeah, so it's a 1 to 4 slope. Or sorry, 4 to 1.
Or one, so it's
Yeah.
pretty steep.
It's very steep. yeah.
Yes, it would be mowable, but yeah, it would be on the steeper side.
And the soil, what kind of soil is it? I mean,
Most of the site is been disturbed and is fill of some sort. There's a mix of loam and sand. These test pits we did right here, it was fill to about, several feet, and I think groundwater was at elevation 205.
I meant on the slope.
So there's an existing slope right here adjacent to that existing wetland. So we would just be pushing that slope back and making the wetland bigger. And the soil throughout most of the property is all fill.
All right.
So you're gonna be planting some type of vegetation to stabilize that slope?
Yes. So for this replication area, there would be an inlaid substrate, about a foot of organic material for these plants to grow in. And then on the side slopes, we have a note here that they would be loamed and seeded, and then erosion control blanketing would be installed on these slopes around the replication area.
So you say it's mowable, you mean so that like usually in areas like that, we tell them they want it mowed like once a year just to make sure that it's stable. But yet that it doesn't look like a lawn and therefore become part of the, the yard.
Right. Yeah, that's certainly something that can be conditioned. I don't foresee the, if the replication area has to stay that way and with annual monitoring. So I don't think that area would be encroached upon, certainly with that slope. Just have to ensure, probably some sort of monumentation so there's no dumping over the side
Right.
there.
Yeah, it's a prime spot right on the curve of the road there where people would be tempted to dump leaves and yard waste and things.
Right.
So is that, can you back out? Is that part of one of the building lots, or who's going to maintain that?
So this would be, we're showing part of lot 21
Okay,
right now. We could make it its own separate lot, I guess. We haven't gone through planning yet with this. We've had a
Okay.
preliminary approval, but not a definitive.
Because that'd be a problem, because once the developer leaves, these people are on their own, and who would maintain that? Who would cut that once a year or whatever? I mean, that couldn't be left up to one of the homeowners.
well, it looks like the entire thing is in that lot, isn't it? There's no property line. That's just one big lot, right?
Right now, we're showing it as one lot, yes.
So that property owner, if they're the owner, they'd be the one with a requirement that it be mowed once a year on there and have to be made aware of that, right?
Right, correct.
And how long will you be monitoring the replication area?
Well, usually under the state regulations, it's 2 years would be the standard. But since this is an isolated wetland just under the city's bylaw, I would assume that's up to your guys' discretion, but I would say a minimum of 2 years.
And so you would be able to tell if they're doing the annual mowing.
For 2 years only.
Yeah,
I mean, and then who would ever monitor that? I mean, it's a strange, that's a dilemma lot, really. No.
but right now, we're just,
Fred, you're the realtor. How would a thing like this go? I mean, you sell a house and the person is required to maintain something that was there before they bought it. It's interesting.
Well, how I would take it is that as long as they know before placing the offer, it would be something that they would have to agree to. They'd have to be notified. I would actually put it right in the MLS listing so that they would know unequivocally that this is something that they would have to take care of, for the 2 years. And then hopefully just because that they're the homeowner for aesthetics and looks and, backyard cookouts, that they would maintain it just for their own,
Mm.
looks and things. But I tell you, most homeowners probably wouldn't want to.
No, I could see it as a dumping place for their leaves.
Exactly. I can foresee that also. I can't say that that's what is going to happen, but that is definitely a possibility.
Mm.
Well, they will be coming forward to
Yeah, that's true.
individual lots, and we can think more about a condition that might require the homeowner to perform the annual mowing and provide photographic evidence that it was done and the condition. We could do that as well.
Mm. Yeah, well, we can deal with that when they come before us.
Yeah, when the lots come before us, we can deal with these issues.
Mhm.
Right now, we're dealing with the plan before us. Do we have
Right.
any? I mean, it looks like the replication is of sufficient size. And the plan to make it that I read seems like it is something that should work. Go ahead. Someone's just going to speak there.
No, I just said, mhm.
So what are you asking, Ryan? Are you asking us to close the hearing and so that we can start the timeframe for issuing the order and just put a condition in there that no work can proceed until the water quality permit is issued?
That's correct. We'd be asking for the alteration of this isolated wetland. And then one of the pre-construction conditions would have to be obtaining a 401 water quality certificate from Mass DEP.
Okay, so no construction, nothing would happen on site until that's been, but it starts your time frame. That's what you're looking for, right?
Correct.
Okay. Commissioners have questions? Hearing none, a motion to close the public hearing would be in order, with everybody understanding that what that does is give us, we couldn't do an order tonight anyway because we are still operating under Zoom. So we'd have to have an order ready at the next one. And we would put that condition in there that no construction begins until the water quality certificate permit has been issued.
Commissioner Collins, if I may, I apologize. Phil stated that he sent out public notice for folks to actually come here to 70 Tapley Street to view the meeting as well as comment. So that therefore, he believes that you guys could very well render a decision tonight.
Who said that?
Phil Droney. So again,
Well, I would agree with that normally, Alvin, except that because we're operating under Zoom, we're still operating under the governor's rules for extending the right to be under Zoom. And under those rules, you had to wait till the next meeting.
okay, so regardless if the public is able to come in and comment at 70 Tapley Street.
Yeah, because because we're operating under Zoom, we're operating under the governor's extension. And that puts parameters on. We're suffering that same in another committee I'm on, that we have to follow those rules or else we have to stop, operating under Zoom completely.
Okay, well, so be it.
Okay. So a motion to close the public hearing would be in order.
I make a motion, we close the public hearing for 35 Elaine
Excuse me, can I
Circle.
say something?
Yeah, who's that?
This is Graham, the builder, contractor.
Yeah.
What's the timeline in the next meeting in that sense? Because this has been going on for a long time. It's been going on and on and on and on for a while now.
So the next meeting would be December 13th.
December 13th, okay. Okay.
And just, because since you brought it up, these aren't rules we're making up, Mr. Graham. These are.
No,
these
no,
are-
no. I never said that. I never said that. I'm not that ignorant. No, I understand. I understand. I just, just trying to get things going. It's been a while since we've been. I understand. It is what it is. Certain steps has to be taken. Rules have to be followed. I follow every rule and regulations. I'm just
Okay.
wondering, I just trying to
Right.
figure out how things going to work because I'm just paying a lot of taxes and all kind of stuff for going on 2 years now, and no movement.
Okay, well, your order would be ready at the next meeting and we meet every 2 weeks. Certainly this commission has not had it for 2 years. But I hear you, you've been looking to get started, so.
By the way, I didn't want to interrupt earlier. I hear we're talking about so as far as I understood, I can't remember which meeting it was, but the city wants to have the responsibility at a certain time. They're making us put a right of way in the back of the property so they could maintain it throughout the future. I swear that was part of some meeting that we were in. DPW was requiring us to do something like that.
I don't think that got presented to this meeting. Was that in the zoning meeting, maybe?
It's got to be some other meeting. Yes, it's been so much things going on. Ryan may be able to remember
Sure.
what it was
Yep.
about because
I believe that
he's
was
the person that's
related
doing all the-
to the stormwater area, and that was part of the preliminary planning board discussion. The city having ability to access that stormwater basin for maintenance, which is this area
Yes,
down
I
here.
thought so.
Yep.
Okay, that was in planning, so we're not aware of that, so. But it
Yeah, but
doesn't.
that's why I'm giving you a heads up. So it's not.
That wouldn't prevent us from going forward. If planning wants to make sure that there's an access to there for maintenance, that'll get taken care of as you go forward with your final planning board meetings.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to let you know everything that's possible that will be done or was required that I know of. So I don't want to leave you in the blind. So make your job easier. Simple.
Okay. Juanita made the
Good enough.
motion. Was there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, Alvin, if you'd call the roll?
Yes, Christopher Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Martinez,
Yes,
Commissioner Alminas,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes,
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We will have it, we'll have something prepared for you when we meet every 2 weeks. So the order will be voted on 2 weeks from now.
Okay then, gentlemen, ladies, have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
You
you as
too.
well.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your patience on this one. Appreciate it. Thanks.
No
You're
problem.
welcome.
So Parker Street is continued, Alvin, right? And Summer Avenue, they're still waiting for the reports on that.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so that brings us to item 4, the Tiffany Street. And was there oh yeah, there was some new information. Are they gonna be presenting that this evening? They did send us the report.
Yes, so
The wildlife, oh, okay, I see.
Hi, I'm Megan Kearns. I'm with Weston and Sampson. And I'm here on behalf of the client to present the wildlife habitat evaluation. I believe it was sent around yesterday. We sent it over yesterday. So I'm happy to answer questions that you may have or go through it, whatever the commission would like to do.
I read it. Do you guys want a brief synopsis of it? If you haven't, it was only sent to you yesterday, so I would understand if maybe you hadn't seen it yet. Do you want a quick synopsis on what it said?
yes.
Okay,
Yes, please.
All right, I can also just share my screen in case anyone wants to see something specific in the report. You all can see my screen, correct?
Yes. Yep.
So I was out on site. I was the one who did the wildlife habitat evaluation. I don't know if you folks have been to the site or not, but I'll just show some representative photos to give you a good idea. This is from Tiffany Street, looking down where the work area is. There wasn't a whole lot out there. Some things that I found were some standing dead trees. There were a lot of logs and rocks in the stream that could provide good habitat for certain creatures, but these are present throughout the whole site, both upstream and downstream. So any work in this area is not going to per se negatively impact the wildlife habitat that is currently on the site. And you can see just how bad the erosion is over here. There are a lot of exposed roots and fallen logs right here that I found. There are also quite a bit of invasive species out there. There are some areas of Japanese knotweed that were still around a couple weeks ago, even though it's cold. I was still able to see them. I found a couple small mammal burrows. And one tree that had a cavity in it, but this is in the riverfront area, not where any of the work is going to be proposed. All in all, I don't think any of the work will negatively impact any wildlife habitat in this area. I did complete the wildlife habitat evaluation forms, the Appendix B forms for all of the work. Those are included as an appendix to the wildlife habitat report that I submitted, and those just go through the species that were out there, which were mostly red oak, white pine, red maple. There was quite a bit of oriental bittersweet out there, which does provide wildlife food for creatures. The small berries are good food for animals, but that was throughout the entire site. So any impact to that type of vegetation is not going to negatively impact the area. So I'll turn it back over to you. If you have any questions, I can hop to any part of this report that you might want to see.
Commission have questions on the wildlife habitat assessment?
No.
Okay, so that was the last thing that we're waiting for on this, right? We can close this public hearing this evening?
The only thing is, at the last meeting, we did talk about checking the other side of Tiffany with the erosion there. I mean, and somebody was gonna look into it and talk to, I don't remember who, but.
I thought we said, Alvin, and correct me if I'm wrong, I thought we said that we would ask the contractor while they're there to assess the other
Right,
side.
and remove any fallen trees or
Right.
branches that were in the way. Okay, that's right.
So we,
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
okay, so we would put that in the order that we'll vote on a couple of weeks from now, if we close the public hearing tonight. I don't think we're waiting for anything else. I
No.
think we've got all the information that that we need. All the comments from DEP were sent in and answered.
Yes.
Alvin, is it okay if I jump in? Luca Minio, civil engineer with the DPW.
Yeah, where are you, Luke? Go ahead.
Hi, so I just wanted to let you guys know. So unfortunately, the funding that we do have for this work is only for that one side of Tiffany Street. And we can look into seeing if we can add the assessment of the other side into the designer's scope of work. But it would really be dependent on whether we had the resources to do that. Because obviously, you know, anything that is going to be beyond their scope of work is going to, you know, be an extra cost. But we can definitely look into that, and I can get back to you for the next meeting.
Yeah, and I actually, I believe that's exactly what we said the last time, that we would just ask them to do the assessment. They would work with the park and DPW, see if they do find anything, if they could look for getting funds to correct it.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Okay, because I believe that's what we said at the last meeting.
Yeah, I think you're right, Chris.
Okay, so that being said, can you work with Alvin to get language for him for the order for that? to add to our standard, so he's got something for that? Lou? Alvin, work with it.
Yeah, no, I didn't know if you were talking to me. Yes, of course, we can do that.
Okay, thank you. That'd be helpful. So then a motion to close the public hearing is in order.
I'll make a motion. We close the public hearing for Tiffany Street.
Thank you, Peter. How about a second?
I'll second it.
I think Fred beats Clarence, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So we'll give it to
He
Fred.
can have it. I love have it. I love have
Okay.
it.
So if you call the roll,
Yes,
Alvin?
we'll look to close the public hearing. Commissioner Collins,
yes.
Commissioner Martinez,
Yes,
Commissioner Alminas,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Thank you. That brings us to item 3, which is the order of conditions for Franconia Golf Course. If you recall, this was where they're going to deepen the entire pond. A very similar process to what they did when they just did the center of it to get themselves some water to actually, enough water to water the golf course, and now they're deepening the entire pond. So the order of conditions will look extremely similar to the one that we gave them for to just do the center of the pond, where they'll be using the mats to get in and removing the material and dewatering and all of that. I don't think there's any need for any special beyond basically, Alvin, just basically doing kind of copying the one that we did earlier.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, we'll figure it out.
okay. So are you ready for us to vote on it tonight, knowing exactly what it is, knowing that there's no special conditions, that you're just going to follow the same process as the one we did earlier, that for them to do the center of that pond?
Is that a question for me?
That's a question for you, yeah. Are you all set to put that together? Or that has been put together, right?
I believe the petition did put something together for us, so we can move that forward. I'll work with Phil and move that forward.
Okay, all right, so then we can vote to issue the order that basically is a copy of the last order that we did. So it's similar, it would have all the same things in it that the last one did. Does someone want to make a motion to issue the order of conditions?
I'll make a motion to issue the order of conditions.
I'll
For
second.
Thank you, Peter. And that's for Franconia, just for the record. Go ahead, we can call the roll, Alvin?
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Martinez,
yes,
Commissioner Alminas,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
and Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Thank you. So in item 4, we have certificate of compliance for 21 Van Street. If I recall, this was a single, wasn't this a property that really didn't have anything on it, but it was part of an old filing, Alvin? Isn't that what we just?
That's correct. It was part of an old filing. The property is actually located outside of the 100-foot buffer. But they just needed some paperwork to essentially, I don't know if it was for a sale. I'm not sure.
I believe it was for sale. It was because they needed it to close. And if I'm not mistaken, this was the one where it was actually voted once, but somehow got lost. So we're voting it again. And then we'll have to make sure we get over to sign it so that they can use it to close on the property. So does someone want to make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 21 Van Street?
I'll make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 21 Van Street.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, Alvin, go ahead.
Yes, Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Martinez,
Yes,
Commissioner Alminas,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Thank you. And the last item on the agenda is a certificate applying for South Branch Parkway drainage improvements. That was a DPW project, right?
Yes, correct. We do have Mr. Minio who's on the call.
And is he still there? I think he's gone.
No, he's there.
I'm
Oh,
still
he's
here,
still-
sorry. I got
All right.
6 kids at the house and I'm trying to
Oh,
get my kitty and then, yeah. So one's at the doctor, one's watching Elmo, so. So yeah,
So
so it was a really great project. Everything went right according to the plan. We just had one minor adjustment in terms of the on-street drainage. But no, everything went great. We replaced the manhole and there was a 60-inch pipe leading out to a new wing wall, head wall that was constructed in place and then poured. And then we put, I think about 72 yards of riprap right at the bottom of that outfall. So, you know, kind of like as a settling basin. So any sort of sediment that might be washed into it from the drainage would settle at the bottom and then continue out to the pond. So we were very fortunate. We did it in July. It rained once. So that makes things a lot easier. You know, if we tried to do it, you know, maybe in October, November, I don't think it would have happened. So we, the weather was on our side and, you know, the grass took, we planted seed in September. It really came out beautiful out there. But happy to answer any questions that anyone might have regarding construction.
I just have one. Have you guys actually sent Alvin a letter saying that the work was done according to the order of conditions?
Yeah, we did. So what we did, so as part of the application that we sent over with planning, we had our design consultant who put the plan set together. He, you know, certified that the project was constructed, you know, according to the conditions given.
Good. So we have everything that we should have in the file. Are there any questions? Hearing none, then a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for the South Branch Parkway drainage improvements. What is in order?
I'll make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for South Branch Parkway drainage improvements.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Juanita. Alvin, if you wouldn't mind calling the roll?
Yes, Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Martinez,
Yes.
Commissioner Alminas,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for staying, and I hope your kids feel better.
Oh, thank you. And Chris, I'll work with Alvin and we'll definitely take a look at that other end on Tiffany Street and hopefully we can badger the director of public works for some more money. So see what we can make, what we can do.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. Have a nice night, everybody.
You too.
All right.
Take
you
care.
too.
The only other
night.
item is that I have for the commission is Phil did tell me that the posting is still open, that he's gotten 3 or 4 applications that he's reviewing. One of them really looked good. It was the current conservation agent for Ware,
Oh, wow.
who has really good background, has done this work, and it's kind of what we hoped we might attract, because it's a part-time position in Ware.
I do have an update on that particular.
Yeah, unfortunately, the update is in one part of the applications, he said he was willing to move in. And the second time that question was asked, he said no. And so to my knowledge, and Alvin, correct me if I'm wrong, Phil did contact him and he said, no, he's not willing to move into Springfield.
He has to live in Springfield, is that it?
Yes,
Yeah.
he said he has a residency requirement.
Hmm.
So, and unfortunately, he had said yes at one point, and it's asked in 2 different ways in 2 different parts of the application. But Phil did verify and he said, no, he's not willing to move to town. So unfortunately, the best candidate, so it's still open. I don't think it closes till the end of the first week in December.
Yes.
But that's too bad, because that's exactly the kind of candidate we're hoping to attract.
Mm-hmm.
So
So,
other than that, I
Commissioner,
don't have anything.
Before we go, I had a question in regards to the Tiffany Street matter. So you guys voted to close the public hearing, but is there a subsequent vote to move it along to, what is it, an order?
We just prepared the order of conditions and we vote on to issue it at the next meeting.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, so I want to be clear on that.
Geez,
okay.
imagine wanting to live in Ware over Springfield. We have so much more to offer. Oh, well,
Well, you don't never know anybody's personal
no,
circumstance.
I know. I know they
Oh.
might have a really nice house they just built. Who knows?
Yeah, so
Well,
that's too bad, but everybody have a great Thanksgiving. I hope you all
Yeah.
have your family
Have-
around you and
mhm,
You too.
yep.
Happy
enjoy.
Thanksgiving.
somebody want to make a
Everybody,
motion
everybody have a
to
happy
adjourn?
Thanksgiving.
I'll make a
I'll
motion
make
to
a
adjourn.
motion. Oh, Peter got it.
Everybody wants to leave.
Peter got it. I
Hey,
think
by the way,
Clarence
I'll
got the
second.
second.
I'll second it.
how is Phil? I mean, how is Phil? When is he coming back to work? Do you
I
know?
think, Alvin, he's back part-time, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been working half days.
Oh,
Yeah, yesterday actually was his first full day, but he left for a half day today. But I guess next week he'll try to get back to a full schedule.
yeah. How's his walking? Okay?
Yeah, he's walking a little bit of a limp, but he's
Yeah.
getting around.
Oh, good,
It'll-
good.
He'll get better and better, that's for sure. The pain how's his pain in the knee? He's probably still got some pain from surgery, but
Yeah, it seems so. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so
All right. Well,
You
have a
wanna
nice
call the,
Thanksgiving.
call a roll or just,
All right,
Oh.
you too.
okay. Have a good Thanksgiving, everyone.